So today we're going to do a quick start user guide for the V360 camera. Here it is in the portable carry case. Let's go ahead and open it up. The side will come in the box with a protective plastic coating on. I'm going to go through firstly getting set up for charging. So open the bottom door, it's going to be a bit stiff. Once you turn it, it'll get to the unlock point. If you go a little bit more, it will start lifting. Pull it out. What we recommend is on this rubber seal here, to make opening and closing it a bit easier, is just take a bit of lip ice or any sort of Vaseline and just put a little bit on the rubber seal. That'll make opening and closing a lot easier because of that twist motion. When you're putting the door back in, just line up the little unlock buttons with either one of the marks, push down evenly on both sides and give it a little twist, and then that'll be locked in. Always want to make sure that the door's same height all the way around to ensure you've got good waterproofness. Now let's look at charging. So in your box, when you get it, you'll have the remote control, you'll have a full mounting pack which includes these flush mounts, which we'll go over shortly. You'll have the GoPro adapter as well as the charging head and charging cable. These cameras do like the charging head provided best in terms of the amperage supply, so try and use that. If you're in a different country, just use an adapter head. So right now we're down in South Africa, so I'm just using a adapter head, and then that seems to work best. So go ahead, put your camera on charge. This head here is actually an earlier Android version, so you can either use the exact charging cable, but if you do get in a pinch and you don't have the charging cable, you can go ahead and use a normal Android pin, like from your Blackberries or Samsung Galaxies, and that will go into the bigger side of this charging port, just like that. But as I said, the camera does like the original charging lead with the original charging head best. So we're going to go ahead and skip through the charging because I've got a charged battery right here. We set up to go filming today. So we're going to go ahead and drop a charged battery in there. Let's talk for a minute about SD cards. You need to put an SD card in this camera. We've been getting a few complaints online about the camera stopping recording halfway through. That's because you need to be using the correct SD card. This is not the correct SD card. See, it's got a 1U on there. It's not 4K compatible. You need to have a 4K compatible SD card. So here we're using a SanDisk Stream. You can see it's got the little 3U, and this is a 4K compatible SD card. So let's go ahead and pop that in. Goes around that way. That's in. So SD card's in. We've got a charged battery in. Let's go ahead and pop the waterproof door on. See, it goes a lot easier with the bit of cocoa butter on the seal. Now what we need to do is grab our smartphone and open up the app. If you haven't downloaded the app yet, just go into iTunes or your Android store. It's the V360 app. It's a free app. So open the app and we're going to search for cameras. Got this one listed, Go 360. It's going to come up as 360 camera is the stock name. This one I've already connected to before. The first time that you connect to the camera, it's going to ask you for a password. The password is 0000. So when you connect to camera, you'll see that the LED starts flashing. It's a green flashing LED. The boot up is about 90 seconds on these. So just keep that in mind if you're wanting to start filming something. Don't wait till last minute to turn the camera on. You can also pair the remote. Just go on VSN's website. It's not very hard. During startup with the batteries in, you just hold down the top button. If I think it's 30 seconds or 45 seconds, the remote will pair. Then you can just travel with the remote if you don't like using a smartphone. I enjoy using the smartphone app because you can preview the stuff over Wi-Fi and just make sure you're getting the right angles and stuff. So as you can see, we've gone to a solid green light now, and now we're connected to the app. So once we're in here, it'll show you battery percentage. When you're charging, you'll see that it's charging. We've connected over Bluetooth right now, so we don't have a screen preview, but what we have is we've got control to switch between the modes. Currently in video mode, it's showing us we've got 6 hours and 22 minutes on the SD card. That was the 64 gig SD card. So that means all I've got to do today is just do battery swaps and we'll be good with that SD card for most of the day. So here you can switch between your different modes: photo, time-lapse, burst, and surveillance. You can look up on the website, VSN Mobile, if you want to find out more about those modes. And you've also got the different video settings. The stock settings seem to work best, especially if you're going to be editing in iMovie or Final Cut Pro. So now we're going to touch on briefly mounting for the camera. There's a few different mounting solutions. Let's get the charging stuff out of the way. As I said, it comes with the flush mount in the kit from VSN. This works great if you're going to be filming from a low position and you're mounting it on a level surface. Because what you want to remember, you always want to have the camera sort of level. Because the angles that you're getting, let's go ahead and just get these plastic off here. And we'll give a brief explanation of your capture. So inside your lens here, you can see you've got like a 15-degree angle on the bottom side. So that's capturing 15 degrees down. And then what you can see on the inside there, that 45, you're getting 45 up. So what you're getting is a panoramic 15 down by 45 by 360. So flush mounted, down low, like on the front of a surfboard, anything like that, you'll have the camera mounted this way around. You'll be getting great capture upwards. I'm going to upload a 360 video after this quick start and showing you the different angles and explaining the different mounts we're using. Then you'll get a bit of grasp of what we're saying. So down low, if you don't want to use a flush mount, if what you're mounting to is not on a perfect angle, or you want to put it on a windshield or something like that, you want to screw in the little GoPro adapter that comes with it. And that just screws straight into the bottom. And then once that's in, that frees up quite a bit of options. So here we have it on a suction mount you can go to. We've got a normal right side up pole. The right side up pole works pretty well with the camera in this orientation with the little adapter there. But if you want to telescope out further, what you find is that the 15 down doesn't really capture your surroundings that good, especially from an elevated position. So we like to invert it, use that GoPro adapter we were talking about, and I'll show you now how we get onto the end of the pole. You can go ahead and put it to the GoPro pedestal, and as soon as you've obviously got it to a GoPro pedestal, then you can go into any of the GoPro flush mounts. GoPro flush mounts like the curved and flat adhesive mounts, which you can put on your helmets, on your vehicles, wherever you want. You can go ahead and chuck it on the surfboard mounts. Just remember to put the tether on. I normally attach the tether between the tripod and here. One piece of advice we do have is where the LED is, that's where when you take the SD card out, that's where your shot's going to be split. So you're going to see 180 forward and 180 back from there on the SD card. Loading to the app and stuff, obviously it's seamless, you don't have to worry about that, but for editing purposes, it's good to keep that in mind for the orientation. Now, VSN's rated this for 1 meter immersion for up to 30 minutes. So when we go surfing and diving and stuff like that, obviously you do exceed 1 meter for more than 30 minutes. And what we tend to do is chuck these little stickers over the mic holes. Because what happens is you've got a Kevlar backing, and the pressure pushes the Kevlar backing and you will get water ingress in. So if you're comfortable that you're not going to be bumping and scraping it on rocks and that sort of stuff and breaching it, we just go ahead and put a little sticker over the mic holes, and then we feel a bit more secure about the waterproof integrity of the camera. The camera is water resistant to 1 meter for 30 minutes, like the manufacturer says. It is IP67 rated, but this is just something we like to do for safety. We don't leave them on all the time because obviously it affects your audio. What we found as well, if you're doing high speed stuff on vehicles, we like to put these on just to protect the microphones. You get a bit less wind noise, you get a bit more motor noise back from the vehicle. And then, it's a handy trick that we sort of developed. So GoPro pedestal mount, as we said, we can go to any of the GoPro clips. Watch the video a bit later today and we'll show you the different mounting solutions. One thing I want to cover is the Pause Play 360 inverted mount. So we've got the GoPro adapter mount, which we then go ahead and apply to the top of the camera, and that makes working with the camera inverted a lot easier. Before, we used to go and run a little bracket across the side, over and down, and that obstructs the shot. So we developed this little mount, which we're going to go ahead and apply now, and you'll see that it's quite useful because anything from a elevated position, you then can get 45 degrees down and 15 up. So now we're going to go ahead and just stick this on like we said we were going to do earlier. So I've gone and peeled back the tape from the side, so this now is sticky, and we want to put it on our camera. So as I mentioned earlier, the LED is where it splits it on the SD card. Films seamlessly, but when you play back on a screen, it's going to show you 180 degree forward, 180 degree back in panoramic. So when I put these mounts on, I like to line them up 90 degrees. So most of your sticky mounts and stuff, you end up putting facing forward on a vehicle. So then by doing this, we end up with the split that way. So we get forward and backwards. Just center it as best you can and go ahead and apply it. So make sure you give it a good push down so that the tape gets a good stick. So now what this allows you to do now is to mount to stuff like this, you know, like a suction mount on the car, inverted off the roof, and then you get a nice angle down. Also, like we spoke about briefly earlier, if you want to get onto a selfie stick now, you can go ahead and use the tripod mount, where you take an ear off the tripod mount. When I say ear, just one of these little fins, and then you get to retain the GoPro clip as it is, which is a bit more versatile. So we go ahead and pop that on, throw a screw in, and attach it, and then we put the back-to-back flat mount clips on, and now we can go ahead and chuck the camera in there. So that's it on a telescoping selfie stick, and we're getting 45 down, and we'll show you some footage from that earlier with 15 degrees up. It works out pretty well. The last thing that we need to cover, there's actually two things we need to cover lastly, is one, that the camera with this mount on will not fit in the box unless you trim a bit of this section out. So let me show you what I mean by that. Just take a set of side cutters and go ahead and just snip it and open it up, and then the camera fits in there quite nicely again, and you can chuck the remote in there too. So camera is all secure and put away. What we do recommend is with the GoPro clip adapter on the top, if you're mounting it right side up in any environment where you might take a fall, some of these edges could scratch you. So what we do is just go ahead and take that top section off, and I'll show you the profile of that now. If you're confident that you're not going to be bumping into it, then it's not really an issue. Just one thing to remember when you tighten these screws up, do not over tighten them, you know, nylon, and you will strip it. You will strip the threads, and then you've got to peel the double-sided tape off and do that whole process over again. So that's what it looks like then. I think we've covered it. Charging, mounting, briefly touched on positioning, SD card, battery, waterproof seal. Remember to put a little bit of lip ice or something on the seal. That'll help a lot. And watch the 360 video after this. We're going to cover the different mounting locations. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoy working with the product.